Imagine being handed absolute control over the known world. Every whim instantly gratified, every critic silenced. Historically, this level of unchecked authority has a predictable outcome. It produces monsters. Take this marble bust of Commodus. Notice the arrogant tilt of the chin and the lion skin he draped over himself to demand people worship him as the god Hercules. In his hands, absolute power became a tool for self-delusion. Now look at the man who ruled right before him, Marcus Aurelius. In 161 AD, he inherited that exact same throne. But instead of living in luxury, his reign was hit with a barrage of crises, invading foreign armies, a deadly plague, and deep political betrayal. Yet amidst the chaos, Marcus didn't snap. He didn't execute his rivals or retreat into paranoia. He maintained his sanity, governing with a sense of duty and restraint that earned him the title of the Philosopher King. We know how he resisted the corruption of power because of where he left his thoughts. Look at these stone ruins. This is Carnuntum, a Roman military camp on the freezing northern frontier. Here, in a tent near the battlefield, the emperor kept a private notebook. He titled it simply, "To Himself." The text we know as Meditations was never meant to be a book. It is a raw, real-time psychological survival guide, a manual for keeping a human mind intact while holding the heaviest burden on earth. When reading the diary entries, they don't sound like poetry. They read like strict cognitive drills. Marcus is effectively auditing his own thoughts, identifying weaknesses, and correcting them before they can manifest in his actions. Take his morning routine from Book 2. Before he even starts his day, he commands himself to mentally prepare to meet people who will be unthankful, arrogant, deceitful, and malicious. Rather than plotting how to crush these annoyances with his imperial authority, he forces a psychological reframe. He reminds himself that these difficult people act out of ignorance and that they share the exact same spark of rational thought, what he called the divine particle, as he does. The ruling part, think of the mind as an impenetrable boundary. Incoming shapes represent external events. They bounce off harmlessly. But if the boundary opens, a lapse in judgment, a shape gets inside and the circle flashes red. Events only harm if opinion allows it. For the emperor, true power wasn't about controlling the Roman Empire. It was the daily, moment-to-moment discipline of preventing external chaos from breaching the walls of his own mind. This mental framework faced a massive practical test when Marcus's most trusted military commander, Avidius Cassius, launched a rebellion to seize the throne. Marcus leaned on Stoic physics. Imagine a complex web of connected nodes representing the course of nature. When one node turns hostile, the web doesn't collapse. It flexibly absorbs the shock and incorporates that broken piece back into the whole. In Book 4, Marcus gives us the mechanism for dealing with this. When a heavy, dark object drops into a roaring fire, it doesn't snuff the flames out. The fire rapidly consumes the object, using it as fuel to grow even brighter. He applied this fire metaphor to the rebellion. Instead of seeing Cassius as an injury, he reframed the betrayal as a chance to practice radical forgiveness, famously wishing to capture Cassius alive so he could grant a full pardon. By treating the obstacle as the raw material for virtue, Marcus ensured that a setback never just resulted in a loss. It became an opportunity to strengthen his character. But this raises a major question. If external things like wealth and health are indifferent, and life is simply a series of obstacles to endure, why bother doing anything at all? Marcus struggled with this himself. In Book 5, he writes about the simple difficulty of lying in a warm bed on a cold morning, trying to find the motivation to throw off the blankets and go to work. His motivation came from the Stoic belief that humans are born to be fellow workers, much like the hands, feet, or eyelids. We are built to support the collective. To force himself out of bed, he relied on one guiding principle. That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee. He endured the drudgery of administration and the burdens of war because it was his role to support the human hive. Stoicism isn't about passive endurance. It is an active, deeply motivated duty to serve others, regardless of how you feel on any given morning. The life of Marcus Aurelius was a sequence of paradoxes. He was a peaceful man who spent decades waging war, a wealthy monarch who slept on a hard cot, a loving father who watched multiple children die before him. His end was consistent with his principles. In 180 AD, he died in a remote military camp on the frontier, performing his administrative duties until his final breath. We don't command Roman legions, but we face the exact same internal threats he did. We deal with ungrateful people, unexpected grief, and deep anxiety about our own place in the world. His private diary proves that mental resilience is not a fixed personality trait. It is a daily, grueling practice of cognitive auditing. True peace isn't found by trying to change the world to suit our desires. It's found by mastering our own thoughts, throwing off the blankets, and simply getting up to do the work of a human being.